How do I make millions by trading stocks? Well, that is the question that I asked myself about a year ago, and that is when it hit me. If I want to make millions from the market, I need to find other traders who have already done that and then copy what they did. And so I got to work. I studied some of the most successful traders in history, looking for the skills that they all had in common. And it's been about a year since I started my journey, and I'm here to share my findings with you. These are the 3 trading skills that will make us rich. Skill number 1. Jesse Livermore is a legend in the trading community, and some consider him to be the best trader of all time, making over $1 billion worth in today's money. But how did he get there? Well, in the late 1800s, Jesse was a teenager looking to make some extra money. He ended up getting a job as a ticker boy. So what would happen is back then, when the stock price would change on the trading floor, someone would have to go up and change the price on the board, and that is what Jesse did. Well, about a year into his job, he started to notice something. You see, Jesse started having these hunches about which way he thought the stock would go before it even moved. He began writing these predictions down, and he noticed something magical. Having made this discovery, he took all of his savings and put it on a trade. He made 70% on that first trade, and the rest is history. See, being the ticker boy, he would see the stock's prices rise and fall for over a year, and then he started to notice the patterns that the prices made. And lucky for us, stocks still form patterns to this day. So knowing how stocks move is absolutely essential for anyone who wants to make millions in the market. Now you might be saying, that's great, KJ, but how do I develop the skill of pattern recognition? Well, luckily for us, it is a lot easier than it was in the late 1800s. Step 1 is to find a proven pattern or setup that you want to learn and trade. If someone has made millions trading a pattern before, that means you can do it too. On this channel, I trade Qualamagi style setups, and I have plenty of videos going over how those setups work. And step 2, once you have the style or the pattern that you want to trade, you need to go through every single stock in the US market looking for past examples of when that setup worked. And yes, this takes a lot of time, but you will learn how stocks actually move. And once you learn the skill, you'll have it forever. It's kind of like riding a bike, except that this bike makes you millions. Step 3 is to document what you find so you can review it later. For example, I have a Notion database of over 1,000 setups that I found as I went through the US stock market. And if you want to build one like mine, I have a complete guide in the description for completely free. Mark Minervini is one of the best swing traders in history, but it wasn't always that case. Early on in his career, he was struggling to even stay profitable. And late one night, as Mark was reviewing his trades, he noticed something big. He would be making good progress on growing his account, and then one big loss would wipe away all of his profits. And so he had an idea. He went back and back tested all of his trades from the year, but this time, if any of his stocks went negative 10% in the red, he would sell them instantly. And he was shocked. Taking the same exact trades, but cutting all of his losses at 10%, instead of being in the negative, his account would have been up 80% that year. Mark learned the power of risk management that day, and he used that skill to go on to make hundreds of millions in the decades that followed. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I never really cared too much about risk when I first started trading. I mean, I have a tendency to really like gambling anyway, so the more risk, the better. And I was having a really good laugh in 2020 calling these people who manage their risk losers and just being too safe. But the laughing stopped in 2021. I took $3,000 and turned it into 40 grand in 3 months, and then watched it disappear into thin air in less than 2, all because I had zero risk management. That 40K was gone in a flash. You see, I learned a very expensive lesson that month, and it's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you can keep. And if we want to make it all the way up to being millionaire traders, we have to learn how to manage our risk and do it really well. But KJ, how do we do that? Well, the goal of risk management is to have as small losses as possible while still giving you a chance to make huge gains. Let's say we were to play a game. I'm going to flip a coin, and every time the coin lands on heads, you're going to make $3. But every time the coin lands on tails, you're going to lose $1. How many times would you flip that coin? As many times as you can, right? Because even if you lost 3 in a row, it'd only take 1 win to take back all those losses. So the odds are stacked in your favor. Now that is exactly what we want to do with our trading. We want big winners and small losses. But how do we do that? Well, the ultimate tool in making that happen is the stop loss. Setting stop losses protect our downside to make sure that our losses are small. Let's say your average loss was 5%, but your average gain was 15%, you'd be making a ton of money, just like the coin game. But if you don't use stop losses and let your losses run, your losses will outweigh your gains and you'll be bleeding cash. So we have to make sure our average losses are always lower than our average gain. And now you're saying, but KJ, what happens if my stock gaps down overnight? And that is where position sizing comes into play. Now, obviously, position sizing will vary based on the style of trading you do, but the main point of it is this. You never want to have so much size on one trade that it could ruin your account. So let's say you have 20% of your account in one stock. You wake up the next morning, you open up your laptop, and you see a gut-wrenching sight. Your stock has gapped down 50%. Which is extremely rare, but it can definitely happen. I've seen it before. Well, now your entire account is down 10%. Now that is a big drawdown, but it is very recoverable from. But let's say you had 50, 60, even 70% of your account in that one stock and then it gaps down, you're going to be down over a third of your account, and that's going to be a lot harder to come back from. So a good rule of thumb that I would recommend for beginners is never have over 25% of your account in one stock. And always remember, if you're not profitable while trading small, then you're not going to be profitable while trading big. But even if we mastered those two skills, there is a third skill that if we do not master, we will never make millions. But I've made an entire dedicated video to this skill, and you can check it out right here. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.